It's good to see you all today. So glad you're here, and what an exciting day. 15 months ago, Mike was with us, and we made a commitment to him that we wanted to prayerfully, with God's help, provide a worthy vehicle, a decent vehicle for their ministry there in Sierra Leone. And today we get to accomplish that. And it is truly a thrill and an excitement. I know you're excited about it too. For those of you who aren't familiar with what I'm talking about, you saw it out there when you walked in. And how God orchestrated that is a story for another time, but it's definitely a God thing. And it's just so exciting. And last time Mike was with us, the brains of the outfit, Diane, was not. So Diane, just wave. There she is. Welcome her, would you? Welcome her. Yeah. And so Mike is going to preach and just share his heart and what God's doing in Sierra Leone through the ministry of New Hope Baptist Ministries. And it's exciting. Mike, come on up. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you so very much. I can't even begin to express what this means to us. I know you do all this many times for your missionaries. It's a first for me, and I thank you very, very much. Not going to rehearse the story, but I just want to say I reached a place where I thought, well, I need to suggest something for Pastor. He had said, let's both of us find the vehicle that we think the Lord would have. And anyway, after a few months, I suggested a vehicle, and he said, you know, Mike, I don't think that's what God means for our church to do. I said, okay. I just thought, all right, Lord, you know what you're doing. But if you could see our vehicles in Sierra Leone, you would think, boy, any vehicle would be a blessing right now. And we have 3 vehicles in the compound, and not one of them working. So and that's not a complaint. I never ever want to be complaining to God about anything. And we have been so blessed. But we did need a vehicle. And it was a little embarrassing to go to the MOD and they in a taxi, and the Ministry of Defense there. And we have a relationship with them and the other forces there in Sierra Leone. And to be honest, the last time I went was November, and it was a little embarrassing to pull up in front of them open the gates for us to come through, and then they can't let a taxi in the compound, so into the base. So I was had, to be honest, less patient than your pastor. And he said, Mike, I think let's see. God has another vehicle. I believe he has a Suburban that he wants to give to that ministry. And so I just turned it over to the Lord, just said, Lord, you know what you're doing, and Pastor knows what he's doing, so I'm just going to back off and depend on you. And so then the next time I heard from your pastor was a picture of the vehicle. And I couldn't believe it. I thought it belonged in a presidential vehicle list. It is a beautiful car. I rode in it yesterday. Your pastor picked me up in it, and I'm looking for the ejection button. It is an amazing, amazing vehicle. And church, I have never had a a church. Since I've been a missionary to Sierra Leone, I've not had a church that has done what you've done. And so it's a very humbling, has a very humbling impact on my life to realize that we have such a beautiful vehicle to take to Sierra Leone. Our intent is to put that on the container on the 1st of April, and that's our goal. We have some other things we want to prepare to send over to Sierra Leone, so we're going to postpone it till the 1st of April, but then that should be in time if everything goes well. No promises, but we intend to have that vehicle to pick your pastor up when he comes for the leadership conference with the military in May. And if we don't get it there in time, I probably will have somebody else pick him up. So, but anyway, church, I don't know how to say thank you. I really don't. It's kind of overwhelming. And but I appreciate you so very, very much. The years that you have been investing in Sierra Leone, not just with this vehicle. It's not the first investment you've made. You've been supporting us every single month since we arrived in Sierra Leone. And so, church, thank you for that. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your prayers. This is a praying church. And you've prayed for us, and God has opened so many doors to us. We now have 25 churches in the country, and we have our Bible Institute, which we just purchased, in the process of purchasing, I should say, 2 acres of land overlooking the ocean. It's a level piece of property. We just have to get a grader out there to clear all the bush out, but it's 2 acres of prime property in an area where there is no property available. And so we are very grateful for that. Locate our Bible Institute there. We have a strategy for capturing Sierra Leone and for Christ. And we do that through the districts that are there, planting churches in these districts. And we saw a response to the first section of the Port Loco district last year. Well, actually, it was April 1st when we went there 2 years ago. And we have 4 churches and a school, a well, and we have 4 acres of land there. And God has given us a strategy for Sierra Leone. But the Bible Institute has always been our plan for impacting West Africa. With this, we intend to do our best to try to get missionaries that are in West Africa to work the week of like faith and practice, to come together and use the Bible Institute as a training center, not just for Sierra Leone, although God knows we need more preachers in Sierra Leone. And but we want to train each one. All 25 churches, either they have been a graduate of our Bible Institute or they are enrolled in our Bible Institute. And we are wanting to go into the next section. We just did a survey last week on this new section in the Port Loco district, and there are 8 very large villages in that section, and we plan to plant a church in each of those sections. 2 of them will have schools. One is on the main road to the city of Bo, and we've already been told that we will be given property on that main highway, and to put a church and a school, and of course wherever we have schools, we need a well for that school. And so that's how we're stretching ourselves, how we are moving the gospel forward in these districts. Now, the Bible College, if we can bring other missionaries into this vision of impacting West Africa. And they will, I'm hoping to make them trustees of the Bible Institute. By the time we get on the college property, we will be a college. In fact, last year we had last November, December, had an inspection of our Bible Institute by the government, and we were told that we should apply for college level. And I told our men, I said, the government is ready, but I don't think we are yet. So by the time we get on the property, which is a 3-year plan to have the dormitories, the Bible, the classrooms, and our administration building, by the time we get on that property, we will be ready to apply for college and place a college on that property. We have 2 course studies there where we have theology, and we have also Christian education, because we have 8 schools and we need to train our teachers in our Bible Institute. So we have those 2 courses for our students to choose from. But we get other missionaries in West Africa to join with us in this project, and we can have all of us a vision of impacting West Africa. Then we have a strategy not only for a country, to reach a country, but we have a strategy for impacting a region. And there are 5 regions in Africa. And we're hoping that that when we are able to do this in the West African region, that this will be a prototype of what can be done in the other regions. And we can see a continent reach for Christ. And that's not going to happen in my lifetime. And I said, I just told our staff we're putting together a 5-year plan. And Diane said, well, how long do you think we're going to be able to keep doing this, And, but anyway, at least for 5 more years we're planning on, because we want to see this college established. We want to see the strategy for reaching a region put in place. I don't know whether that's something that God will allow, but we're headed in that direction. And with your prayers, God continue to help us. We can do that. I told the preacher this morning, I said, I've got a 45-year-old mind. That's probably being a little generous, but please allow me that this morning. But anyway, a 81-year-old body and 125-year-old legs. So that's where I am. Church, thank you. We love you, appreciate you. This vehicle is going to go far beyond our lifetime in Sierra Leone. And it will be used always for the ministry. And so you're not just providing this for myself and Diane, but it will be there for years to come. It will outlast me. Got a brand new engine. I need a new engine, but anyway, I just thank you. And we're enjoying the day. What a beautiful car, magnificent car, and certainly very much appreciated. I'd like for you to turn your Bibles with me this morning, if you will, to Matthew chapter 28. Matthew chapter 28. While you're turning there, let me just share with you the story out of the Houston Chronicle. Actually was a picture on the front page of the Houston Chronicle that showed a woman down among the skyscrapers of Houston, and she had her ear on the breast of a man. And when you looked at it, you wondered, what in the world is this all about? And you read the caption underneath. Her son had been killed in an automobile accident, and this man had been given a heart transplant. It was a heart transplant from her son. And she was listening to the heartbeat of her Son. We have a God whose ear is on our heartbeat. May it be that we beat the heart of his Son, and that we can see the world as it really is and how we fit into that dynamic that the Lord has for us. But in these verses, as we think about these verses, Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. And then it says, Amen. So be it. May that be our desire, to fulfill this wonderful command that Jesus left with us just before he ascended back to heaven. In fact, you'll find this command in all four Gospels in the book of Acts, Acts 1:8. The last words of Jesus Christ, they're different. And I believe those were 5 different times that Jesus spoke to his followers, his church, if you please. Jesus had said, I will build my church upon myself. I am the rock of ages. And so he says to his church before he ascends back to heaven, this is what I want you to do. And we know that the gospel spread throughout the city of Jerusalem. The church grew. One time was 3,000 people saved, baptized at one time. What a magnificent service that must have been to be a part of. I would love to have been there. I submit to you these 3 great truths this morning that I believe are truths for the 21st century church, for what you and I are to be doing. I want you to notice, first of all, verse 18, Jesus came, spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. All authority. That word power means authority. Jesus said, I have the authority to say to you what I'm about to say. What command I'm giving to you, the church, this is what I want you to do. God the Father has declared that the Lord Jesus Christ has all authority. Angels have announced him Lord. They've acclaimed him as master of their life, as an angel. There can be no refusal. There can be no rebuttal. And there can be no rival when it comes to Jesus' authority in the life of his church, in our particular lives as members of the church. What does he mean in heaven? Not just the throne of God. It means the heavenlies, the place where spiritual battles go on in the heavenlies. Spiritual wickedness in high places. Angels and demons are subject to the authority of Jesus Christ. He has authority in that unseen demonic and angelic world. We need to understand that Jesus Christ has authority in our church. Jesus Christ has authority in our lives. I think we readily recognize that Jesus has authority in the church. But sometimes it's difficult to come to a place where we say, Lord, you have authority in my life. You can tell me what to do. You have every right to tell me what I should be doing. It's authority in heaven, but it's also authority here on this earth. And I believe that that means that the gospel of Jesus Christ is not just for this church, not just for this community of Burlington and beyond into Boston and the community. It isn't just for It is not just for the community that I represent. It's for every community in the world. Jesus Christ tells his church to go into all the world and preach the gospel to every single creature. And he has that authority. I think when we think about the heavenlies and we think about this earth and we think about the church, we think about ourselves, that we understand that it's an authority that we cannot break. We cannot back up. It's not a place that he, our Savior, does not belong. He has the authority over the power of sin. When Jesus Christ died on the cross, he said, now is the prince of this world cast out. Satan's back, it was broken at Calvary. Satan sails a sinking ship. One of these days, maybe not very long, one of these days Jesus is going to cast him out. He's going to rule and reign on this earth. We're not praying for victory. I think we're praying from a position of victory. His power is given unto us. His authority has been given unto us. You have missionaries that you're supporting because you believe in the verses that we read. But I want to take it a step further. He has authority over my life. Diane and I, our first ministry, we found ourselves in Tampa, Florida for 5 years. Next 13 years, we were in South Korea, planting churches and reaching people there for Christ. We were there during the harvest time. Wonderful time to see South Korea become a Christian nation from 2% Buddhist to 45% Christian while we were there. To be a part of that. We never knew that we were in a revival. We never knew and understood at the time that we were in a harvest field. I thought, to be honest with you, that all missionaries were experiencing those same kinds of things. But now I know that we were there at a very special time, a wonderful time. We were there for our life when we went there. We knew when we went to Tampa, we were there just to learn and to grow and become a little bit of experience in the ministry. And then God took us to Korea, and I thought we were there, Don and I thought we were there for the rest of our lives. God didn't have that plan for us. He moved us to Philadelphia. Not really a place I wanted to go to, but we ended up in Philadelphia area. We were there for 27 years. I thought we were going to die right there. I thought we were going to spend the rest of our ministry there. God said, tapped me on the shoulder, Mike, I want you in Sierra Leone, Africa, after a visit there. I thought my job, coming back on that first trip in 2007, I thought my job was to recruit missionaries that were young and vibrant, and I thought, boy, that's what my job is, to help become a recruiter. My second trip, that same year, in September, first was in, I think, March, and then the next trip was in September. I realized, no, God said, Mike, this is where I want you to go. Well, we were in our 60s at that time, our mid-60s. Well, maybe a little past mid-60. But I really thought, God, how can we do this? I love our people. I love our church. I'm 65. What, is this a time in our life to be doing this? God said, this is where I want you to go. Been there now for 15 years. I just think about that. I think about what God is doing, the thousands and thousands of people that are coming to Christ. Our camp, the Rawlings Foundation put a youth camp there. My son-in-law and daughter are in charge, directors of the camp. This year, they have had over 600 students, high school students, coming every day to camp to hear the gospel. And I think they've had this year, the last number I heard was over 10,000 young people that had come to Christ at the camp. I don't know how many thousands of people have been saved in Sierra Leone. I've never taken time to add it all up. I wish I had. But God is doing something wonderful in that country. But we need laborers there. I don't think we're ever, as long as we're living and breathing, I believe God has a perfect plan for our life. And it's very important that we find out what that plan is. And we release our plan and we buy into God's plan for our life. And then we can find the peace of God that passeth all understanding. And we impact people's lives for Christ. His power is given unto us. His authority is given unto us. You say, how can that be? I thought my life is to live as I felt that I should live. But God comes back and says to us, you're not your own. You've been bought with a price. And that price was the blood of the Son of God, the Lord Jesus Christ, on the cross of Calvary that provided us a way of forgiveness and a way to come to God. Give us eternal life. When I think about what God's given to me, how can I say this is my life? I have to say, God, this is a life that I want you to use. There's a day coming when the Son of God, we stand before him, wants to say to us, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I'll make thee ruler over many. Don't we all want to hear God say, well done? I would like to hear that. I'd like to know that I fulfilled the plan of God for my life that he had before the foundations of the world. I've always been in his mind. You've always been in his mind. And Jesus says, this is what I want you to do. And the fact that we're still here, church, the fact that Jesus has not, we haven't heard the trumpet sound and we haven't heard the call, come up hither, the fact that that hasn't happened reminds us that God has given to us the opportunity to fulfill his plan in this world. You say, wow, this world is in such a mess. And it is. I don't care where you go, it's messed up. Messed up here in America, it's messed up in Sierra Leone, it's messed up everywhere. But so was the world in which Jesus came. It was very messed up. Rome was messed up. No sin that's being committed today that wasn't committed in Rome, the empire. But you know what? The church turned the world upside down. If we're still here, God still has a plan. And who knows whose life you can touch for Jesus Christ. Jesus not only had an unchanging, unlimited power, but he had an unchanging program. In verse 19, go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost. And his program has not changed. It didn't change with culture. The message is the same yesterday, today, and forever. What's that program? Teach all nations. Baptize them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost. That's a very plain and very clear mandate that Jesus has given to us. never been rescinded. And it's universal in scope. It applies to you, it applies to me, and it applies to this church. It's individual in application. You may not have the same ministry here that we have in Sierra Leone. Your lives are very different. You're unique. Like God said, we're like a snowflake. And we see that God has given us a command. The French Foreign Legion used to have this saying, if I falter, push me on. If I stumble, pick me up. If I retreat, shoot me. So maybe in some cases we need to get out the gospel gun. I don't know. A.J. Gordon said there are two classes of Christians, soul winners and backsliders. Jesus' unlimited power and his unchanging program. And lastly, Jesus' unfailing promise, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen. What a great promise. That word all. He says all authority. I have authority in your life. Church, I have authority in your life. It all belongs to him. There's no demonic power that can withstand the church of Jesus Christ. Matthew chapter 16, Jesus answered, said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. We should never be terrified by our adversaries. All nations. There's not a nation that is out of the bounds of the power of Jesus Christ through his church. All the commandments I've commanded you. All the days I'm with you always, even unto the end of the age. Don't you like that? I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Let me give it to you again. All authority, all nations, all the days. I think these are great opportunities in these days in which we live. It's a tough time. But the Church of Jesus Christ was persecuted deeply in those early days. But they kept on going. They weren't singing that old song that says, hold the fort, for I am coming. They were singing, onward, Christian soldiers. Let us go forth in this battle. Let us go forth with the gospel. Let us capture Sierra Leone for Jesus Christ. Let us impact West Africa. Let us set in motion a pattern that can be followed and done and accomplished again and again in other regions of Africa. 1 billion people in Africa. If there was ever a people that needed Jesus Christ, they need him. And they're responding. And there are people in this community that need Jesus Christ. And they need people that will come alongside them and give them hope. Because there's a lot of hopelessness in this country today. And the hope of the gospel of Jesus Christ is so powerful. It changes lives. It makes us different in Jesus Christ. May we move forward. May we do our very best in these days to make a difference, because we ourselves are engaged in spreading them, carrying out the message, the mandate that Jesus has given to us. God bless you. Thank you this morning.